Now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Howdy there, cowpoke. It's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we are in the Wild Wild West, and we are trying to capture some of the historic outlaws out there, like Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, things like that. So we're taking a look at a card game called Wyatt, Earp. This is newly reprinted. It came out a while ago, but it's been reprinted this year by Eagle Griffin Games. It's designed by the great Mike Fitzgerald, who did Diamonds last year, was card game of the year for a lot of people. This is a rummy type of game with a lot of different player interaction. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. In Wyatt Earp, you're going to be playing cards down the table, and you're going to be trying to capture these different outlaws. And these are some nice tiles here that have some nice flavor text on what they actually did, Butch Cassidy and so on and so forth. Everyone starts with a $1,000 reward for catching these. Now each player starts with 10 cards at the beginning of every round. Some of these cards are going to be what's called outlaw cards, and each one of these sort of matches the people that were in the center of the table, and some of them are going to be some special sheriff cards. So how does a turn work? Well, there's a draw deck and a discard deck, and on your turn you have to draw either 2 cards off the top that you can't see, or the top card of the discard. In this case, I'll draw these 2. Now, after you've done that mandatory draw, you can, if you want, play cards. Now, I just drew these 2 cards, which was a pretty good draw. So what you're going to do when you're playing cards is whenever there is a new outlaw that has not yet been played on the table, like this guy, Wes Harden, he has a name and they all have the same sort of colored suit here. Whenever he's not on the table yet, when someone lays down the first set, or meld if you will, of this outlaw, they have to throw down at least 3 cards. So I could throw down these 3 cards like that, but since I have another one, I could actually throw down all 4. Now when we look at these are all worth 2 capture points. So right now, 2, 4, 6, 8. There is 8 capture points for Wes Harden. And anytime we put some cards down, we're going to add a $1,000 reward for pretty much all the cards minus 1. So I threw down 4 cards. We're going to put 1, 2, $3 $1,000 on him. So there's Wes Harden. He starts with 1,000, but now there's 3 more thousand. So as people play more, see him, or play more cards at him, he's going to get the reward's going to get better for him, which is going to entice other people to want to play cards of his nature. Now, once a set has been played from somebody, like let's say somebody already had a set of 3 for Belle Starr that was already out on their table in front of them. Once the set of 3 is out, you can put as little as 1 card down in front of you, putting a card of Belle Starr here, assuming there's a set of 3 already out there from another player. And in this case, when you only put 1 card down, you don't add anything because it's always $1,000, times however many cards minus 1. So if you put down 1 card, you don't get to add anything to the reward, but at least you're getting in the running for being for capturing Belle Starr. Now, in addition to those other cards, there's some other special cards called sheriff cards. You can always play 1 per turn, and they do special things. For example, and then they can add to the capture points. So let's say add it to her. This says stagecoach robbery. After a successful shot, I can put this on any outlaw. So a successful shot means I take the top card from the draw deck and I put it in the discard pile. If it's an outlaw, it will pretty much always have a shot on it. Boom. It's a press your luck mechanic because roughly a little more than half are these cards. But if a sheriff card comes up, there'll be no shot, and I would not have been able to place that card there. But in this case, I pressed my luck. A shot card came up. And I can attach this to any of the outlaws that's in front of me. Maybe I wanted to put it on Belle Starr there. And I get to add $3,000 to her. So boom, she's getting more. The rewards are getting better for her. Now I can play as many of these sets as I'd like. And when I'm done, I have to discard 1 card. And it doesn't even matter. Even if you were to go out, you have to at least have a card in your hand to discard. And let's just say I discard that. And then it'll be the next player's turn. Now let me go over some of these other special cards because they're pretty interesting. Now it does come with a player aid that tells you how many of each of these cards there are in the deck and what they kind of do as a general. Now here's the card. So let's go through these real quick. Bank robbery can add 2 capture points to any one outlaw after a successful shot. Remember, any successful shot is we take them off the top of the deck. If there's a shot there, which is any outlaw, you get to do this. We could place on any outlaws and get a $1,000 reward, but it's 2 capture points. The fastest gun. So if a successful shot, we place on any outlaw to receive a $1,000 reward, and we retire the previous fastest gun, because there's only one fastest gun that can be out at a time. So let's say I had a successful shot, it was on one of my outlaws, but then someone else played a successful fastest gun, mine would have to go away. So it's worth 3 capture points, but it might be temporary. Pretty cool. The most wanted. So you can either take one of the outlaws from an opponent's hand. So essentially you get to just ask them if they have something, the type of outlaw. And as soon as you go in clockwise order, as soon as you get one, you stop asking. And you do that for free. Or you can gamble and try to take a successful shot. And if so, you can take one card from an opponent's table. So he might have this in front of him. You're like, ooh, I'll take this. And you put it in front of you. So you got some options here on this one. The hideout is really bad. If you get a successful shot, you can place this on somebody's, any one of their outlaws. So for example, someone might, boom, go like that. And that means these 8 capture points are no good towards Wes Harden. Wow. Because Wes Harden's in a hideout. So that's a really, one of the most painful cards in the game. But there is a remedy to it. There's 7 Wyatt Earp cards, and you can do one of 3 things. You can take 2 cards from the card supply. You can take any card from the discard without looking at it first. You can then go through there and take any card you want after you've decided to go there. Or after a successful shot, you can remove that hideout card. So those are the different special cards. So this is going to continue to go. People will be playing sets. They're going to be adding to people's sets that are out there. And this is going to continue until somebody goes out. And going out means I place my last card in the discard pile and I'm out, and it stops and ends the round. There is one more special card called the photo. And let's say I've already played Jesse James in front of me. Somebody else had played a set earlier. I play one. I can add this photo to him. It's specific to Jesse James, and it gives me 4 capture points, and I get to add 1,000. But the cool thing about this is the photo is the only card you can play out of turn. Let's say someone played a set of Jesse James to start it off. You can out of turn go, oh, I've got the photo card, and place it in front of you. And that kind of shows him that you're in contention pretty heavily for Jesse James just off the bat with 1 card. So that's the other special card there. So the outlaws might look something like this by the time somebody goes out. And then one at a time we go through and we see how these score and if they score. Now let's look at Billy the Kid. There's only $1,000 here, which means there probably weren't any cards played for him this turn. So what you do is you look at everybody's tableau in front of them, and you look to see the total amount of capture points in the entire table. If there is not 8, then he is not captured this round and nothing is divvied up, and you go to the next outlaw. So then we look at Wes Harden, for example. And let's say I was the only one to play cards, but there's 2, 4, 6, 8 capture points, which means he gets captured. If I was the only person to play cards on him, I would score everything that's here. Also, if, for let's say someone else had a 2 in front of them, but I had 8, anytime the leader, the one who has the most, has at least 5 more capture points than everybody else, then still he's the only one to score everything. So you're trying not to let anybody get more than 5 ahead of you or the crew, because they're going to get everything. But if somebody, let's say this guy has 4, somebody else had 4, and he has 8, well, he has less than 5 less than this guy, and they would split it up. And the way that would get split up is essentially the leader gets 2, and the next player would get 1, and then you split 1, 1, 1 until it can't be split, until it goes like that. Now, sometimes people can tie with the same amount of capture points, and sometimes, essentially, the money cannot get split evenly, and in that case, nobody gets money. Now, let's say a 4-player game here on Wes Harden we're scoring, and this guy has the hideout plate on him, so he's not even in the running. All these are nothing. So we have 2, 4, 8, 10 total capture points, so Wes Harden's paying out. Now, this guy has 4, this guy has 4, so they're tied for the lead. This guy has 2. Now, the 2 is within at least 4 of the leader, so everyone's going to get paid out. These 2 are tied, so they both get the 2,000. Because you always get 2,000 for having the most, then everybody else gets 1,000. So he gets the 1,000, and now these 2 do not get anything. Nobody gets any more because they're tied, and we cannot give them 2 1,000s. So this would go back on Wes Harden. That's how you'd score sort of a complicated way at the end of the round. This is a more complicated example that usually happens, but just to show you how things get split up. So after all the money is split, the people who are not taken, the money stays on them. And then again, $1,000 is put on every person, whether they have money or not. And then you start a new round, and you continue this until one person has $25,000, and then that's the end of the game. All right, well, there's Wyatt Earp. Recently, I've been playing and I've been reviewing some of the Mystery Rummy series, and I'm really becoming more acquainted with those. And even though this isn't officially one of those Mystery Rummy series, it feels like, other than the theme, it feels very much like one of those games. In fact, this might be my favorite one out of all of them. I really like this. This is an excellent, excellent version of Rummy. I mean, you don't even realize you're playing Rummy because the theme is fun. You get the outlaws. The more people play cards and capture points and see them, the more the reward goes up. He robs a bank and he's getting more capture points, but his reward goes up. Things like that. And if he's not caught that round, then the reward stays there and it keeps getting greater and greater. And then, hey, we capture him together. Hey, if I did most of the work, you're not getting any of the reward. I'm getting the reward. But if we split it, we'll split the money. So it's really interesting in that, right? I love those special sheriff cards. This game really has a lot of good player interaction where you're trying to figure out when to play those cards, when to throw down the hideout cards on somebody, when to get the Wyatt Earp cards. I really enjoyed this. I think 3 is probably the sweet spot for this game. I've also heard other people say their favorite is with 3. So there's a lot of those mystery rummy games that maybe are better with 2 than any other. And this one I think is best with 3. Not that it doesn't work with 2 or 4, but 3 is probably that sweet spot. I would probably never turn down a game of any amount with this game because it is so fun. And it's just fun playing those sets, trying to figure out when to play the cards. How long do you want to wait to throw those cards down to try to go out and stop the game early there? It's just a lot of fun. You're holding that photo card, you wait for somebody to play the set, and boom, you show them that you've got even as almost as much capture points as they do with just one card, and you're trying to play who's gonna have the fastest gun in the West, and taking that away from people. So it's got a little bit of that take that attitude to it as well. A lot of trying to like home in on players if someone's running away with the lead, or if somebody's getting a lot of capture points. You can try to police them by throwing hideouts on them and kind of ganging up against them. So it's got that good player interaction, probably more take that and player interaction than some of the other Mystery Rummy series. But this is a very, very enjoyable game. The way that the scoring is split, the components are great. The cards are awesome quality, that nice linen feel finish. I love that they went with the money of those nice solid tokens instead of paper money. All in all, great production. I'm glad it's reprinted. If you haven't played this game, you've got to check it out if it's under your radar. And I wasn't even a fan of Rummy when I was growing up, and I never really have been. But these games make it fun. This is another one of those, Wyatt Earp.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.